Hello, and welcome back to the No Nonsense channel, where our mental health is today's modern wealth. I would like to take the time out to thank all my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that notification bell so you will know when I upload a new video. And also, could I get you all to leave feedback in the comment section, letting me know what you think of my channel or what subjects would you like me to bring before you. And without further ado, I will be talking about two taboo subjects, which is abandonment issues and emotional abuse. Abandonment issues stem from a fear of loneliness, which can be a phobia or a form of anxiety. These issues can affect your relationships and often stem from childhood loss or other factors turn loss into abandonment issues, including environmental, medical factors, genetic, and brain chemistry. Emotional abandonment occurs when parents do not let their children express themselves emotionally, they ridicule their children, or either they put too much pressure on their child to be perfect, or even treating them like their peers. There are two types of style: anxious attachment style, coping by developing intense, close, independent relationships, or disorganized attachment style. People with the attachment style have difficulty remaining intimate and close, but also can be inconsistent. Health symptoms are for abandonment issues is cycling through relationships. Some may engage in numerous shallow relationships. They may also have a fear of intimacy and finds a reason to leave a relationship before the other person can. Sabotaging relationships. Some may act irrationally to get out of a relationship so that they can leave the relationship so that they won't feel hurt before the other partner can. Also, when you cling into unhealthy relationships, some people with abandonment issues may stay in relationships despite their desire to leave. The fear of being alone is more powerful. Needing constant reassurance, some may constantly seek out a friend or a partner, demanding emotional guarantees. They may regularly urge friends and partners to make broad statements like they would never leave them and then turn around and tell them that they're just lying. But a healthy human development requires knowing that physical and emotional needs are met. During childhood, this reassurance comes from your parents. During adulthood, it comes from your personal and romantic relationships. Some signs of abandonment issues are giving too much or being overly eager to please, jealousy in your relationships or of others, trouble trusting your partner's intentions, feeling insecure about your relationship, having difficulty in feeling intimately, emotionally, needing to control or be controlled by your partner, settling in unsatisfactory relationships. And it's also not common for one to want their partner to treat them like they was treated when they were a kid. Some other causes of abandonment issues are death. Death is natural, but this do not make it being less traumatic. Abuse, from physical abuse, sexual abuse, and other forms of abuse, they can create lingering mental health issues, including a fear of abandonment. Poverty, a relationship loss, and the symptoms that are in kids is separation anxiety. That is when a kid gets anxious in advance to their parent or caregiver leaving, or panic when they no longer see their parent or their caregiver. This overreaction may be a sign of an issue, and they fear of being alone. Some kids won't even sleep without their parents or even let their parents leave out the room. If a person have a history of stress, neglect, or traumatic events, These factors can increase the risk in abandonment fear. And when you have fear of abandonment, it can be almost impossible to maintain healthy relationships. This paralyzing fear can lead you to wall yourself off to avoid getting hurt. But treatment for abandonment issues focusing on establishing emotional boundaries. You will need to build an arsenal of response to deploy when you feel old thought patterns emerging again. Seek out therapists or mental health professionals and learn to self-care for yourself. Self-care is the best care and the best love. And take care of yourself so that you can nurture healthy relationships. Practice mindfulness. Acknowledge any past trauma. Communicate your relationship needs and practice self-emotional reliance. But most often than not, helping someone or a loved one with abandonment issues can prove to be difficult because when you bring up these concerns, their instinct is to challenge you or to question your loyalty to them. So while people with abandonment fears differ, these techniques may help you care for someone who has abandonment fear. Ways you can help is be present with them in the moment. Reflect with them when they reflect. Understand their history. That's a deep form of acknowledgement. Normalize their fears. Understanding the feeling, being understanding towards their feelings. Be radical genuineness. That's a deep level of validation for them. And all these cliches that we all normally say, you really have to be careful when saying them to someone with abandonment fears, such as, it's okay, let it go. Everything happens for a reason. That didn't really happen to you. Why are you making such a big deal out of nothing? And this could be a lot worse. You're lucky. But also, don't let them don't take the emotional bait just to appease them. While abuse is bad, whether physical or emotional, I will be addressing emotional abuse. Emotional abuse, like any other form of cruelty, thrives in the darkness where no one understands, discusses, or recognizes it. But when we can use this newfound knowledge and curiosity to shine the light on the risks and the devastations of emotional abuse. Understanding emotional abuse is complicated for many reasons. One reason is because there are several different names used interchangeably to refer to the same types of abuse, including emotional abuse / violence, psychological abuse / violence, and mental abuse. Just to keep it simple, I would just be saying emotional abuse. Very Well Mind article says, emotional abuse is a way to control another person by using emotions to criticize, embarrass, shame, blame, or otherwise manipulate another person. In general, a relationship is emotionally abusive when there is a consistent pattern of abusive words and bullying behaviors that will eventually wear on a person's self-esteem and their mental health. Emotional abuse is one of the hardest forms of abuse to recognize, though. It can be subtle and insidious or overt and manipulative. The main goal is to control the victim by silencing, isolating, and discrediting them. The victim becomes wounded and really don't have the endurance to continue the relationship, but you also be too afraid to leave. So the cycle just keep repeating until you found the courage to leave. If you have trouble discerning whether you're in a relationship whether you're in a relationship is abusive or not, just think about how you feel after interacting with your partner, your family members, co-workers, or even your friends. But if you feel misunderstood, confused, worthless, frustrated, anxious, depressed, anytime you interact with them, you're likely in an emotional abusive relationship. They will have unreal expectations of you. You will have no opinion, only opinions that validates theirs. They will invalidate you, undermining you. They will create chaos. You will walk around eggshells. They will start arguments and be crazy making. They will use emotional blackmail, make you feel guilty and humiliating you. They will act superior, blaming you for everything, treating you like you're inferior, and making jokes at your expense. They will control and isolate you, control who you see and what you spend, monitoring your every move, and sometimes even try to play mind games and control games by hiding your keys. Types of emotional abuse: accusations of cheating, of signs of jealousy or possessiveness, constantly checking on you or attempts to control the person's behavior, constantly arguing or opposing, criticism, gaslighting, isolating you, name calling, projection, ranking and comparing, threatening harm, scapegoating, triangulation, refusing to participate in a relationship, shaming and blaming, silent treatments, trivializing your concerns, and withholding affection and attention, It's important to remember that all relationships may start out normal, then as time progresses, the emotional abuse starts to set in. Over time, the emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse, if not worse, because physical bruises heal and disappear, but emotional abuse is eternal and linger on until it is dealt with properly. And if the victim esteems becomes so low, they will begin to agree with the abuser, continually to stay in the abusive cycle because you feel you can't do any better from all the brainwashing. Health ailments associated with emotional abuse are depression, anxiety, PTSD, stomach ulcers, heart palpitation, insomnia, eating disorders, and thoughts of suicide. Ways that you can help yourself, though, is making yourself a priority, practicing self care, establishing boundaries, and addressing your abuser and telling them that you will no longer accept them yelling at you or name calling. Stop blaming yourself, believing that there's something wrong with you. Realizing that you can't fix them, that's a choice that they have to make on their own. Avoid engaging, just walk away. Build a support network, even though it may be hard. Work on an exit plan if they have no intentions on changing, because it will eventually take a toll on you mentally and physically. Sometimes you attempt to downplay the abuse, and overlooking it can make it backfire, causing even more abuse. So do not argue with them. It may escalate to violence. Don't make excuses or try to appease them. And just be aware of all these signs and know the signs and get help when needed. And if you are the victim or the abuser, there's help for either one. So I would urge you to please get the help that is needed so that you can live a much healthier life. And thank you for stopping by, and please come by again. Thank you.